Hello everyone and welcome to this video where I'm going to share my latest zine with you. It's an art zine called Winter Nights. It features a lot of my new illustrations plus some older favourites too. So we're going to have a look through it and I'm going to talk to you about the process of making this zine. I released my first zine Autumn Days last year, and so Winter Nights follows on from that. But with this one, I decided to change the cover because Autumn Days had a very flexible cover, so it was a more lightweight paper. And I wanted Winter Nights to have a thicker, kind of heavier card cover. So I think that's probably what I'm going to go for from now onwards with my zines. As I did for Autumn Days, I decided that Winter Nights would have an illustration for the front cover that continued onto the back cover, and I really like that idea. What I actually did with this painting is I flipped it because I wanted the house to be on the right-hand side. When I painted this piece, I painted it with the house on the left-hand side, and I didn't know at that point that I wanted to use it for the cover. So when I decided that it was going to be the cover artwork, I needed to have a mirror image so that the house was on the right. Sometimes this works with pieces and sometimes it doesn't. Fortunately, this time it worked, so I was able to do that. And this piece, actually, the original piece sold in my recent shop update, so it's now gone off to its new home. Something I didn't do for the Autumn Days zine was to illustrate end papers for it. Now, I love end papers in a book. Decorative end papers, I think, really just adds something. So I decided to work on a watercolour design that was more of a pattern because I thought that would work well. And this is what I'm calling my winter quilt because it's based on vintage quilt designs. It was really nice to work on something like that, something a bit different. For the next page, I decided to do a double page spread of the painting that's on the front cover, but the right way around this time. So this painting is called The Night of the Supermoon, and it was actually based on seeing a supermoon this winter and realising just how massive it looked in the sky. The next page features two of my recent paintings. These were painted especially for this scene. The one on the left is called Under a Charmed Moon, and the one on the right is called Waning Crescent Moon. And I kind of think of the one on the right as being like a zoomed in version of the moon in the other painting. As I still have the original painting for this piece, it's actually for sale in the shop at the moment. I thought it'd be interesting to bring it in and show you the original next to the printed version in the zine. You can see the colours do differ slightly. That's partly due to the printing process, that's partly due to the paper I used. Different printers have different results as well, but I do think it's exaggerating it a little bit in this video because the lighting in the studio and the camera and so on, they don't look so different in reality, but there you go, you can see a close-up and kind of get an idea of how that piece really looks. So on the next page we have a double page spread of my painting There's a Storm Moving In, and this is a really moody one. I love that granulating sky. So I'm going to show you an image of how this piece actually looks so you can kind of get a better idea of the colours. I would say they're a little bit more subtle than they are in the zine. I enjoyed working on this piece. I loved the feeling of that impending storm. So another double page spread. This is the first frost. That's what I titled this painting. And so many people said to me that this little house looks like it has an expression. It's like its windows are its eyes and its door is its mouth, and it looks kind of surprised at the frost. And I really like that because Dominic always says, Dominic's my partner, for those of you who don't know, Dominic always says that he thinks my house paintings are like self-portraits. So that's quite funny that other people think this looks like a little face. So here's the original artwork for that, and you can see how the colours differ again. And yeah, I'm loving working with this colour palette at the moment. It's a very moody colour palette. It's very me, you know how I love my moody colours. Lovely granulation in the sky, and I actually used the colour that I was mixing in one of my recent videos where I've been trying to find a dupe for asphodel that I love, and that's been discontinued. I used that colour for the sky. The next page features two paintings that I felt went really well together. So on the left we have Early Winter Moonrise, and on the right the bird painting is called Under the Snow Moon. And I talk a little bit more about the different names for the full moons in winter later on in the zine. You may notice that this zine doesn't have a lot of text. I actually put a little bit more text in Autumn Days, but I wanted this one to really focus on the illustrations and let the illustrations themselves tell the story. I have a poem actually at the beginning, which I didn't mention, did I? Because I was talking about the Endpapers, but it's a poem by Oliver Herford and it's in the public domain, so I was able to include it. But yeah, it's a really beautiful poem. It's called I Heard a Bird Sing, and I thought it was really appropriate for this scene. But yeah, here's the original painting of Early Winter Moonrise. And then to kind of end all of the new illustrations I made, I decided to include this photo, and you may recognise this because this was actually a thumbnail for one of my fairly recent videos, but I love the photo so much, and it contains several of the paintings in the zine, the palette I used to do the work as well, and I just thought it would be interesting to include it. It's quite nice to see things in progress as well. I thought it would be nice to include some older paintings, some of my favourites in this scene as well. So on this page we have two pieces from 2023, and they're from the Twilight Cottage series. So I just used one colour to create these. I think it was Cold Forest by Essie. They're handmade watercolours. And I added a little gold moon to each one of them. But other than that, they're just completely monochromatic. And I've always really enjoyed these paintings, and I felt like they fitted in well with this scene. So on the next page, we have Sheep Fields 3, which is a canvas painting I did, I think about maybe 5 or 6 years ago now. And we have a little written piece about the full moons in winter, because I always find it really interesting that the full moons have specific names. So I did a little bit of research about this and found out the names of the full moons in December, January and February. And the photo at the bottom there is actually a photo I took from our living room window, and it was in early January, I think. Let's have a look. Yeah, early January, and it was the rising wolf moon supermoon. And it's funny, it doesn't look that big on the photo, but it did look big in reality. And as I say, the supermoon photos have inspired my paintings of the supermoon. And so this piece was something I did just a few months ago. This is called Quiet December Night, and this was a canvas painting as well, and I felt like this kind of worked well as a double page spread. You can really see the textures in the painting. So on the end page we have my little owl. He's called the King of the Forest and yeah, it's just a miniature painting, and I always like to write a little bit in the back thanking various people. I thank my patrons, and I thanked Crixus for helping me with the technical side of the zine, and Dominic too, because they both helped out with that. And then we have the Endpapers again, and I really love how this has captured all of the granulation in those paints. I'm really pleased with how that turned out. So there you go, you've had a flip through of my latest zine. It's now available in my shop, so I'll put the link in the description, and I'll also put it on screen now as well. Before I go, I'd like to say a big thank you to my Patreon members and my YouTube channel members. Due to their extra help and support each month, it actually allows me to work on projects like this zine. So that's something I am so grateful for. So thank you all for being here. Also, thank you again to Crixus and Dominic for their help with the technical side of things. And thank you all for watching. I hope that you enjoyed it. If you did, please leave a comment, give it a like, hype it. And if you enjoy my channel and haven't subscribed yet, if you would subscribe, that would be brilliant. I would really appreciate it. And I will see you all again soon in another video. So until then, take care and stay creative.